you're on the platform. Now, this is the story that Stuff ran this morning by a woman called Amber Lee Jack. Amber Lee, all one word. Amber Lee Jack wrote this piece. The headline, why would Chris Hipkins join Sean Plunket on the platform? Join me. Did he join me? No, he rang in. Be interviewed by a journalist. So the headline could have read, why would Chris Hipkins be interviewed by a journalist? Well, because he wants to reach people. He wants to communicate with you guys. And then we'll just go through, and I'm going to pick the story apart somewhat. And I just note, Amber Lee, you seem to have talked to everyone else and involved in the so-called story except me. And I know you could get my number, and you're more than welcome to ring me and have a chat about why I think he appeared on the platform. But it says Chris Hipkins spoke to broadcaster The Platform's Sean Plunket for the first time since before he became Prime Minister. That's pretty tortuous. For the first time in a while, I think would have been fair. One political commentator, oh God, so someone who doesn't know what they're talking about, said the platform, while known to be conservative with a small c, is still a potential source of support. Well, the platform's the platform, and the people who listen to it vote. And so, yeah, I suppose that's accurate. And then the other subheading, a Labour spokesperson said it was one of 6 interviews he did on Wednesday. Yeah, he'd lined them all up, which was why we probably didn't get as long with them as I wanted. But clearly some sort of media push on. And I suspect, I'm going to speculate, and she didn't have the wit to put this in her story, that there are rumblings after the latest polls about leadership of Chris Hipkins. I think the caucus meeting, if there hadn't been the Fiso Collins tragedy, the Labour caucus would have been meeting today, and he could have gone into that caucus meeting having been all across the media and everywhere, so a way to shore up his internal support in the Labour Party. And it goes on, and look, then the problems start. At least, I guess, they didn't call us fascist, alt-right, alternative media outlet. Okay, so that's changed from Stuff. But it says, when leader of the opposition, Chris Hipkins, joined broadcaster Sean Plunket on radio outlet. Well, we're not a radio outlet. There's not a transistor or a transmission in sight. We are netcasters. We netcast. And and we're new media. And we're online media, and we're unlike anything else in the country. So poor old Amber Lee, all one word, Amber Lee kind of doesn't maybe understand the industry she's writing about, because we're not a radio outlet. And she says it seemed a strange fit for the leader of the Labour Party. We weren't asking him to try on trousers. Just answer some questions and communicate with you people. And it went fine. No one died, and it wasn't a strange fit. No one felt uncomfortable. Now she goes, the platform is an online radio station. No, we're an online media platform. Founded by the former Magic Talk broadcaster. Well, Magic Talk was one of the shortest jobs I've had. Why not call me the former Morning Report host, the former Fair Go presenter, the former TV3 political reporter, the former current affairs reporter, but oh no, former Magic Talk broadcaster. The station describes itself as an independent digital media site. That's fair, she got that right, because she quoted us, which does not take your taxpayer dollars through government-funded agencies. And that's correct too, unlike Stuff, who she's writing for. I don't know if the Public Interest Journalist Fund paid for the story. So yes, she's got that right, because she read what's on our site. It promotes itself as a space to receive and impart views and opinions the mainstream media simply cannot handle or refuse to handle. And I think that's fair and accurate. We are, and this is part of the meeting, and this is all going to come together, this discussion I'm having with you. This is part of what we did yesterday, and we were looking, and I think when we started, Join the Resistance was a great catch cry for us. But we have grown, you have grown, the discussions we have changed, and the world around us has changed over time. And so I am thinking, and I'm just going to throw this out here so that no one else can come up with a worse idea. And we're going to get some new T-shirts made. And the new catch cry for the platform is going to be keeping it real. And that's what we are about. Real conversations, real people, real questions, and real issues. And we will keep it real. And we want to keep it real. And it's kind of almost an instruction to ourselves. So I'm thinking, and this was all happened yesterday afternoon. This is the creative meeting we're having. And I woke up this morning, I thought, keeping it real. So that's our new, if you like, tagline. And we'll get some new promos. And we'll freshen things up a bit. If you hate it, for God's sake, let me know before I do it. But I kind of like it. And maybe it's a little softer. It's a little more approachable than Join the Resistance, which was pretty hardcore. But we wanted to get your attention. And now that we've got it, I want to keep it, to be brutally honest. While rare, we'll just get back to the story and stuff. While rare, it wasn't the first time Hipkins had spoken to Plunket on the station. Plunket introduced his morning guest by saying it had been a while between drinks, and it had. And we spoke, I'll say this of Chris Hipkins, and there's a funny story in this too. He did come on as Minister of Health when we started, and he was one of the few Labor ministers that was prepared to come on with us. And it was weird because then he became the Prime Minister. And I don't think it was Chris Hipkins. The staff in the Prime Minister's office didn't change. He inherited the same people who'd run things for Jacinda Ardern. And often it's not the politicians that make the decisions. They take advice sometimes from people who are, well, bellends, basically. So I never quite figured out why he continued to give me the cold shoulder, but we kept asking, and we kept asking nicely, and what do you know? I think largely due to the fact that there are more and more of you listening and engaging with the platform, and I want to present as many views from as many sources as possible to give you, so we can keep it real, so we can get a real view of the word. It says with the interview, while mostly cordial, there was a bit of back and forth when Plunket suggested Labor was too woke for Middle New Zealand and that the Labor government tended to cancel and deplatform people, which was far from tolerant of people tolerant of people ideologically different from it. And I did put that to Chris Hipkins, and he rejected it, and you guys called him out for rejecting it. And then the question is posed in this article, so why now is the Labor leader appearing on the platform known more for its right-wing, now we're back to right-wing conservative views, than the centre-left of the Labor Party? We're not right-wing conservatives, we're realists. We're a media platform, and I include you in that. You are, you people listening are part of the platform. So, they go back, the stuff goes back to right-wing conservative views. No, we don't. We've got a variety of views on the platform. And I don't hire people for their politics. And when their politics disagree with me, no one gets disciplined. And we entertain many points of view. So that's kind of BS. According to one political commentator, it's largely a matter of beggars can't be choosers. Who was their political expert? Let's find out. Since January, Plunket's political guests included ACT leader David Seymour, New Zealand First Winston Peters, National Shane Jones, Simeon Brown, Chris Bishop, former MP, with lots of people on, everyone. And it also notes Chris Luxon has also joined Plunket for the first time in September 2022 and at least once in 2023. It's like they're spying on us. Why are they paying so close attention? Ben bloody Thomas, public relations consultant. Ben Thomas is one of those political experts who spent 5 minutes working for a junior minister in the Beehive or running the photocopying machine for the National Party Research Unit, and suddenly he is the font of all knowledge. He's actually not a bad guy, Ben, and occasionally writes some very good columns. But then they go for Ben's hot take on why Hipkins might have appeared. I could answer this question. I wish she had rung me. I just said, well, he came on the platform because he wants to get elected and be the Prime Minister again. And how do you do that? You go out by talking to people and convincing them that you're better than the other guy and they're worth the vote. And you've got to talk to everyone. And where did it get him when he didn't talk to the platform? He lost the election. And I'm not saying we're that influential and powerful, but it's kind of, you don't need an expert. You don't need Ben Thomas, expert in photocopying, to tell you why a politician talks to the news media. And he did say this, the practicality of politics is if you're on 28%, the only way is up. You want to reach as many potential voters as you can. What brilliant insight. Absolutely scathing. He said, added in the current media climate, the idea of reaching the wider public is harder than it used to be. It used to be if you got both news channels, you'd think we've covered everyone. That's simply not the case. And this I agree with. Audiences are a lot more fragmented. And this is part of the discussion we had yesterday. I want to grow our audience, but we have a very good idea who you people are, what sort of people you are. You're fundamentally decent, slightly older than average New Zealanders. You've done all right for yourselves in life. You are very self-motivated people and you're smart people. And so, of course, politicians want to talk to those people. And once again, while more conservative leading, there is a potential source of support. Yep, everyone's vote's up for grabs every 3 years. So, look, I think on ballot, but the nice thing was they had a link through to the interview in the article on some online places. So I just need to say to Stuff, thank you. Thank you very much for publicising my excellent interview with Chris Hipkins the other day. And you know what else you've done for me? You've shown Chris Hipkins that coming on the platform has impact way wider than just the platform. And I'm not running to the government asking them to tax Facebook to make my business work. So thank you, Stuff. But I'm going to say to Amber Lee Jack, why didn't you ring me? And I could have given you a far more concise and clear reason about what was going on in the history of it all than your piece. But I'll say thanks. No news is bad news. So thank you, Stuff. That's great.